Senator Bernie Sanders, welcome back to the Young Turks.
Great to be with you, and it's wonderful to see you and Anna together.
Thank you,
congratulations.
It's good to see all of us back together again. So Senator Sanders, let me get started because obviously we've got weighty issues here less than 3 weeks before the election and with coronavirus raging. So in fact, the most pressing issue is the bill that is now being considered, the stimulus bill. Some disagreements obviously in Washington about not only what should be in the bill, but Nancy Pelosi's stance to negotiate for a better deal and not yet sign the deal that some folks in Washington are pushing. What's your take on that? Do you think she should hold the line? And have you advised from the Senate side on what you think is the right way to go?
Well, Cenk, as you know, Nancy and Schumer have already made major concessions. They have gotten virtually nothing from the Republicans. At a time when millions of people have lost their jobs, people are worried about being evicted, people are having trouble feeding their kids. We need to make sure that every unemployed worker continues to receive that $600 check as a supplement to his or her unemployment. People need that $1,200 check per month. People need health care. We need to adequately fund cities and states who are in the process of laying off hundreds of thousands of workers. So the devil is in the details, but we need a very robust package to protect working people today who are really struggling.
So Senator Sanders, you're absolutely right about the devil being in the details. So given what you just stated, Trump is not there yet. McConnell's not anywhere near there yet in terms of the numbers that you just gave. So does that mean that you think Pelosi should hold the line, even if it means going past the election to try to get a better deal?
Well, Cenk, one of the problems that Pelosi has is you're dealing with an erratic and irrational president who says something different every single day. He wanted to go small, he wanted to go big, he wanted to go not at all. But here is a point that is not discussed very much. The Republican caucus has approximately 20 members in the Senate who really don't want to do anything. So McConnell's problem is that if he went big, which he, I think, is not inclined to do, it would become a Democratic bill because almost half of his caucus really wanted to do nothing. But the bottom line is we have got to be as strong as we can in standing up for working families who are probably today, the working class in America, probably in worse shape than any time since the Great Depression. And in the midst of all of that, obviously, in the next 3 weeks, we have to do everything that we can to defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. And then after Biden is elected, we have to regroup and continue our fight for a progressive agenda that works for working families.
Senator Sanders, one more thing about the bill for me. Do you know why McConnell has a position that he has? I understand Pelosi holding out because the Democrats have a tremendous amount of leverage at this point, and they could really demand what they want in the bill. Donald Trump has a tremendous incentive to pass the bill right before the election. But the Republican senators are in a world of trouble, according to the polling. So why in the world isn't McConnell agreeing to stimulus?
Because he would look like a fool if 20 of his own members voted against them. And then it becomes a Democratic bill. That's the simple truth. He has a number of right-wing folks who believe they have already done too much for the working families of this country. They're busy thinking about how they can give more tax breaks to the rich, how they can end the Affordable Care Act, throw 20 million people off of healthcare, how they can ignore climate change, how they can refuse to raise the minimum wage. They are not thinking about how they can help working families.
I have one question on Trump's version of the stimulus plan. And one thing that has been frustrating as someone in the media was, just trying to get some straight answers on what the spending is actually going towards. I mean, the media keeps talking about, well, Pelosi wants 2.2 trillion and Trump is offering 1.8 trillion, close enough. But there is concern that Trump could use that appropriated money. Let's say in a incredible situation where McConnell actually does successfully pass Trump's version. There's some concern that that money could be used as Trump's personal slush fund. Do you have any details on that?
Well, and I think your point is well taken. You know, people say 2.2, 1.8, what's the difference? The difference is in fact in the details. And I think one of the things that Trump wants, and I have zero doubt would use, is a slush fund to suddenly go out to all of the battleground states. Already using a lot of money in agriculture to be spending money on farmers around the country whose votes he desperately needs. So you're right, as I understand it, although it's always very unclear when you deal with Trump, because I'm not sure that he knows what he is talking about. So it's hard to know what the White House is referring to.
Do you feel that the Democratic Party has done a good job in messaging how Republicans in Congress have basically fought tooth and nail against providing any real economic relief to ordinary Americans?
Probably we could have done a better job. The difficulty that I think any senator or congressperson has right now is every day there's so much that is going on. You know, whether it is COVID, whether it's some other crazy thing that Trump says, it's hard to get the word out. But I do want, apropos your question, to just make a simple point. And that is 5 months ago, that's a long time. 5 months ago, the House of Representatives passed the HEROES Act. It's over $3 trillion. I have some disagreements with that bill, but there is no question but that it is a very strong piece of legislation. And all that Mitch McConnell would have had to do 5 months ago is say, thank you, Nancy, we're gonna discuss it, we're gonna debate it here, let's pass something. He chose to do nothing. And I think what is not clear to the American people is that we have in the Senate the most do-nothing Senate in the modern history of this country. They do nothing but pass nominations for right-wing judges. We do virtually nothing. Nothing on the economy, nothing on COVID, nothing on climate change, nothing on the needs of working families.
So Senator Sanders, clearly Joe Biden is going in the right direction on some of these issues, especially regarding COVID. He says he's gonna put together a pandemic testing board, something that should have been done a long time ago. And he says, I'm kind of in a position that FDR was. That's a direct quote from him. I'm sure that's music to your ears. If you think about it, what in fact FDR did was not ideological, it was completely practical, he said. And he wants to put in a national supply chain commander. So is there anything in his plans that you say that you would encourage him to do more about, or looking at these plans for what he would do as soon as he got in, are you satisfied that that's completely the right direction?
Well, I think I have talked to Joe on a number of occasions, and he refers to FDR, and I think he perceives that he is coming into office in a moment not radically dissimilar to when Roosevelt came into office in 1933. And that is, Roosevelt came in the midst of a terrible depression. Biden will come into office in the midst of a pandemic and the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression, not to mention climate change and systemic racism and all of the other major issues that we are dealing with. But I hope and believe that whether it's COVID or those other issues, that Biden understands that the American people now desperately need a government which works for them and not just the people on top. Because the crises that we face are so profound, so profound. We've got to raise that minimum wage to a living wage. We need equal pay for equal work. We need to create millions of good paying jobs by rebuilding our infrastructure and combating climate change and putting people to work, retrofitting homes and moving to wind and to solar and transportation, agriculture, et cetera, et cetera. So the task in front of Biden, should he win the presidency, is enormous. I believe that he does understand that in this moment, there's an unprecedented moment in American history. He's gonna have to be bold.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.